3, 2, 1.
So I'm 22. I've been writing poetry since I was like 12. I've been performing since I was like 15. But I haven't performed anything in almost 3 years. So let's see how this goes. This is an older poem, but it's one of the most important I've ever written. It's actually where the name Quill comes from. This poem is called Frankenstein's Poet. I am a poet. I call myself one, not just because I write words in the rhythm of a song to make your soul want to dance and sing along. I am a poet. I call myself one, not just because I can write words, not just because I can make words rhyme from line to line with every thought that passes through my mind, I swear. It's like I barely even realize the passage of time when I put a pen to a page. This is the only thing that keeps me sane. Let me explain. This world has torn my skin with lacerations, worse than Frankenstein's abomination, except they never bothered to sew me back together. They left me to bleed out with each pulsation of my beating heart. The sheer force of my will, the only thing that kept my body from falling apart. Just suddenly the world just got so dark, and I could no longer hear myself shout. It was as if the very light of my soul had been snuffed out, a fire that could no longer burn, leaving behind screams that could no longer be heard. Oh, my voice was the only one silent. As all others joined together in perfect resonance, creating vibrations of such force, they shook my very foundation with each quake of the earth beneath my feet. As these monsters I couldn't even see with demonic claws and the devil's tongue tore away my very sanity, I am a poet. And I call myself one, because somewhere in this world of darkness a spark was ignited, it left me blinded, and there in its center I found the golden quill, an ancient pen. And when I took it in my hand, this spark ignited into a raging flame, setting the tip of the feather in my hand ablaze. Down through the center of this quill, this flame raged, but burned nothing along the way. It was a fire that left life unharmed, as if it burned with the force of a human soul rather than the devil's charm. And as it reached the bottom, something miraculous happened. This flame burned black and dripped as ink, and I used it to write out the chaos inside me. This quill to me became this thing that you call poetry. It was a spark of lightning from the skies that struck my chest and made me feel alive. This thing that you call poetry is what sewed my body back together. Not with thread, but with ink from a burning feather, drawing stitches across cuts to sew my body shut. This thing that you call poetry showed me how to fix my foundation with vibrations from my own voice. After it taught me how to speak again, how to put strength behind my words, so that my cries could finally be heard when I said I am not a poet. To me, this is so much more than mere poetry. This is the hand that reached out to me in oblivion, saved me from darkness, and taught me to be human rather than just a monster. I saw the words that I spoke solidify before my eyes and wipe the tears that I cried. I saw them turn to solid gold as they paved the scars across my soul. This thing that you call poetry showed me how to create something with beauty unforetold. Showed me I had a story inside my body that had yet to be told. My scars are carvings on cabin walls. Lessons of history we never learned. Stories of a time primordial before we even discovered that fire burns. Like a flame that rages eternal across time. My poetry is infernal because I am not a poet. I am simply someone struggling and fighting for my salvation. This is not mere poetry. This is the thing that saved my life, and this is the reason that I call myself a poet.